Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I want to answer some questions that get asked to me pretty frequently. Predominantly, how do I price my work? I'm going to open by just saying this is what my partner Randy and I have done for a decade for our business. It may or may not work well for you, and I'm not saying at all that this is the only way of going about it or that this is the best way or anything like that. It's just this is what we've been doing to keep our bills paid for the past 10 years, and also just a little bit about our business. We've been traveling around all over mostly the southeastern United States, but we hit up north a little bit sometimes too, to anime and sci-fi and comic book conventions where we sell our jewelry and costumes that we make. And so we also sell at some different arts and crafts shows, but I don't really change my prices from one venue to another, just because I don't feel like replacing all of the tags. Quite frankly, I probably could charge more at some venues than I could at others, but that's way too much work and I'd rather be crafting. The style of earring, and I am going to focus on pricing earrings in this video because a lot of these same concepts transfer over into other pieces, but earrings are just very simple and straightforward. This is an example of the style of earring that I'm going to be talking about a lot in this video. It's very simple. If future Vaughn remembers to, there'll be a little link popping up, like a little eye and a bubble popping up, like the letter I, and a bubble popping up. But this is not important. It'll be a link showing you how to make your own. And it's a very beginner-friendly project and is very easy to customize to your styles and tastes. And I wanted to show you, I was sitting here working on inventory for in the booth actually, which is another thing that people ask about a lot. They're like, well, how much inventory should I make? And I'm like, all of it. Make as much as you can. The more inventory you have, the more potential sales you have. You can only sell as much as you have made. So if you only have $100 worth of product made, you can only possibly make $100, worth of sales at that event or venue or off of your online store or whatever you have. But this is a handful of earrings that I got made today, just sitting around watching YouTube videos, and you can see they're all basically exactly the same. And I want to talk to you guys about how I go through that mass producing handmade things concept as well. But yeah, let's get the camera turned around and then I'm going to show you guys and talk a little bit more about how I do my pricing. So here you can see I have a little tray out of the different components that it can take to make this style of earring. And whenever I'm, like I said earlier, mass producing handmade things, I go ahead and I have this string of beads that I'd purchased from Michael's, and I'm going to make earrings out of this entire string of beads. And I do that because it lets me really factor up the price per bead, which helps me factor up the price per pair of earrings. Now, I have it written down here, a material list. Our super duper baseline earrings that we carry in the booth will be, let's see, here's a pair. Literally a charm on an ear hook. And this is how I store them, is I've just got one hooked through the other with these little rubber backs on there. But these are super duper baseline. And what I mean by that is I don't have anything that I would price lower than these, or anything that is more simplistic to make than these, because it is literally opening that one little loop, hooking the charm on there and closing it, sticking the ear back on, making a tag, and going. And the price for those, for my surgical steel ear hooks, and there'll be links to all the materials listed down in the video description below beneath, you can click see more and it'll have links to where I purchase the materials that I use for making my inventory. I get my surgical steel ear hooks per pack of 100 and it's $13. I make sure that my alloy is a 301 surgical steel. It has no nickel in it. It's the same metal used in surgical scalpels, as far as I'm aware. It's really hard to find reliable sellers, but I've been purchasing the same pack for from the same manufacturer for years, and I can wear them no problem. in the booth, I tell folks that if they wear our ear hooks and they have problems with them, to send them back to us and we can upgrade them to niobium or sterling silver if they have a preference. I usually don't splurge on sterling silver ear hooks for in the booth because they're quite expensive. And more often than not, folks are able to wear the surgical steel unless they just have super duper sensitive skin or like problems with like just wearing metal in general. So with that, it comes down to 13 cents per ear hook. So 26 cents per pair of earrings. The rubber backs are less than 1 cent per piece. So I just rounded up to 1 cent per pair. I purchased those in packs of like 1,000. And then the charms, depending on where I get them, they can be as low as 10 cents a piece. But sometimes I pay upward of like $1 or more if it's like a super cute little like lampwork glass bead or something. So my cost per pair can be anywhere from that added up to 73, so let's call it 75 cents per pair to $1.75 per pair or more. And for those, I charge $5. I may be able to charge more. I could definitely charge less, but charging $5 for this, that's a price that people are pretty comfortable with paying, especially since it does have the surgical steel. But it's, as an artisan, I have to make money somewhere. And it's selling pieces like this that covers the gas for getting to a venue that's 10 hours away from where I live, for paying, the $500+ for the booth. Like, these are our money makers. They have our highest profit margin, and we call them our filler inventory because we can get, you can see here, just a ton of them made in a day. And each one is a beautiful and unique, especially, if you can get some that have the little natural drusies in them. And you can really make some lovely but simplistic little pairs of earrings. You just have to make a ton of them. And I think that's where a difference comes in between my partner and I do this professionally and between folks who are like, they only want to make art pieces. And I envy the folks who are able to only make art pieces because that's a lot of fun. It's fun at first, but it gets pretty mind-numbing making like 70 pairs of these. But keeps the bills paid, keeps food on the table, so we gotta do what we gotta do. The next style up are the ones that I just showed you with the bead caps. And those are something that, again, I'll purchase a couple of packs and just have everything set up here so I have everything that I need to create the whole batch of earrings right in front of me. And those, again, use the surgical steel ear hooks, the rubber backs, the bead caps, which, again, links are down below, and those come up to 22 cents. And this is going to vary so much depending on what you get, but it's like here I have these ball pins, $5 for 100 of them. And so it boils down to 5 cents a piece, so 10 cents for the pair of earrings. And I can just kind of keep that in mind because this is going to be way more than what I need for this project, but it'll roll over to other projects as well. And then the beads that I get at Michael's for the brown tag, I believe they're $5 a strand. I don't remember exactly, because I typically try to not buy beads from Michael's because they're quite overpriced. I usually only get them whenever they're on sale. But whenever I do my pricing, I price it as though I hadn't gotten the sale price. That way, if somebody sees it and they're like, oh my God, I need this one right here, can you make it, but in this metal tone? And I have to go and buy the beads, but I don't have a coupon and they're not on sale. And it helps me to know how much it would cost to replace it in a worst case scenario. And that's why I have these here as well, is to show you guys. I got these from Joann's on clearance for $2.97 for the both of them. I don't recall how much they would have normally been, but I have the coupon, or not the coupon, the receipt stowed away somewhere. But I think it was like $8 for the two of them originally. And so, again, whenever I'm going to, like, make necklaces where this is the focal point and then it's, like, strung beads, so I would price it as though this one individual piece cost me $4. Because if I wanted to recreate that design, that's how much I would have to spend. And I always want to make sure that whenever I sell a piece, that I'm at least getting enough money back to be able to replace it with another piece, either just like it or similar, or, something of, I want to make sure I'm covering my cost. And in general, you know, if this cost me $4, then I would resell it for 12 because I want to sell it for like if something costs me $5 to make, I'm going to sell it for 15 because that's presuming I'm not putting in any additional work or anything. So again, you can see here I have my 10mm beads, my 3mm beads, my bead caps, my rubber backs, my ear hooks, and my ball pins. And then they just kind of come together into these nice little, well, they got jumbled up together, but you can kind of see, you know, that's what the final piece looks like assembled. And so the total cost for this style of earring is $1.20 or more, depend, you know, if I use like a 10mm amethyst or 10mm labradorite, something that's quite a bit more expensive, I could, you know, need to charge more, but typically I only charge like $5 to $8 for this design as well. Because again, it's our money makers, you know. And then I also make a style of earring that I call the Herringbone Wrap. Again, if I remember to, there'll be a little link up on the page. I just realized that I'm talking, so I may as well be talking to your face. But yeah, I'll put a link up for the Herringbone Wrap on to where you can learn how to make your own. But that one, I usually charge $8 to $10, typically 10 for the pair of earrings, if not more, if it's a much larger bead, because I usually make that design. I start with like a 6mm bead, and then I'll make some with a 6mm, and I'll make some with an 8, and then I'll make some with a 10, and then I'll make some that are quite large with like a 12 or 15mm bead, because some people really like big earrings like that. But that's a tactic that I employ quite frequently for whenever it's like I've got to get a bunch of stuff made. Because we don't, this year, at the time of recording, it's 2018, we only have like one vending event a month, which is the lowest amount of vending that we've ever done. But we've been so busy with Patreon and online sales and doing video production and stuff that we don't need to do 3 or 4 shows a month anymore. But back whenever that was how we were keeping ends meeting, was going and doing all of these different conventions and craft shows and things, we needed to make sure that we not only had enough inventory for that one show that we're doing, but the next 2 or 3 shows in line. Because if, you know, best case scenario, you sell really well and it's like, oh no, we're out of this, and you have to order more beads or, you know, something, and like get a bunch of stuff made in between shows. Well, it's nice to give yourself a little bit of a cushion for, well, we sold a bunch of stuff this weekend, I have enough inventory to get us through next weekend, so, you know, I can take my time cramming out as much inventory as humanly possible. Like, I can't count the number of times I've been sitting there car sick in the van, you know, weaving chainmail or stringing beads or just making like a wire wrapped rings or something just so we had something to sell in the booth. Just because there's not a second of downtime. We have been so busy for 10 years, you guys. Not even exaggerating. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. That's how I figure up my pricing. Now, again, you could charge $20 for these earrings. And if somebody pays you $20 for them, then you did great. And that's the whole goal of this. Like, you could use sterling silver or gold filled components and charge, I mean, if it was gold filled with like a ruby or something, like, you could sell it for way more. But I've found for the client, like the circuit that Randy and I run through, and especially here lately, conventions have not been what they used to be, but that's a whole nother video. Our $5 to $20 price range consistently sells best. So I try to make, whenever I'm making earrings or pendants or finger rings, to kind of keep it within that price range, and then have my art pieces that I charge $40 or $50 or $120 for. You know, that way, you know, somebody who comes to the booth, you know, might like our work, might just like us and want to support what we're doing. And it's like, I want to give them something that fits within their budget, but they can still, you know, get a little something for themselves or for their friends or family. And that's another thing too, is that it's not always about your products. Whenever you're at an event selling, a lot of it, you could have like the best product in the whole wide world, but if you have it like laying on the table without a display, or a bunch of them stuffed into like an old sandwich bag and just the sandwich bags laying on the table. That's not going to sell as well as if you invest in some display equipment, like some, and they're much easier to get nowadays than what they were when Randy and I got started, because like Hobby Lobby and stuff, they didn't even carry necklace displays whenever we got into this, so we had to buy them from, like, I think we got ours from Fire Mountain Gems before Randy just made me some that like were durable and collapsed down, because they had these like little foldy uppy cardboard ones, but they'd get blown over if we were at an outdoor craft show, or like if it rained, everything disintegrated. So he just made me some out of wood. But live and learn. But you can make your own displays. I've seen you could take like a handkerchief over like a plastic bowl necklace display. So, and I'm going to be putting together a whole nother video about making your own displays, and I'm going to be uploading to my Etsy as well as to my Patreon digital download content a template that you can take and cut out either of craft foam or of leather or of any kind of material that you want to make your own collapsible little necklace displays, that, or bracelet display, or whatever you want to use. But display can make a huge difference in the rate of your sales as well as your perceived value too. Again, if it looks like a yard sale or a junk vendor at a flea market, people are going to be expecting yard sale or flea market prices. Whereas if you look a little bit more high end, then people will kind of expect it to be a little more expensive. And more often than not, like, we've had a few times that people just walked right on by our booth because they were like, that's too expensive for me. But we like to surprise them with like, no, it's just $5. It's Randy always scolds me for saying it, but it's handmade quality sweatshop prices. But I'd rather someone be surprised at how affordable something is, and how attainable that it's like, because if you're at a convention, you've already paid for your badge to get in, you've already, have this mountain of expenses, you might have traveled in. If you're at a craft show, oh, here comes the heater coming on. Sorry for background noise. But if you're at a craft show, they might have charged for an entry. You might be there with your kids and they want like snacks and stuff. So these events can get really expensive really quickly. And that's why I try to keep some of my stuff at just a nice even round $5. Also, since I'm thinking about it, well, I don't have any directly here next to me, but gift bags, little organza gift bags. If I remember to, there'll be a link down below where I purchased mine in bulk, because that's something that if you think you're going to do this, go ahead and get them in bulk. Worst case scenario, you might know a vendor friend that, like if you decide, nope, I'm not going to do vending, I don't need a bunch of these bags, you might be able to resell them to somebody else or give them to a vendor friend or like trade or something. But just little organza, here's one. Yeah, just a little organza gift bag. They come up to like maybe 10 cents a piece, if that, depending on how big of a bulk package you get it in. But we just gift bag it up and put our business card in there and give it to the person, and that way if somebody's walking away from our table with something of ours not in one of those organza bags, we know they stole it. Because if you gave us money for it, it's leaving the booth in that bag with a business card, because we do free repairs on all of our work. But and so that's kind of our way. That, and it's going to have the tag cut off, because I don't want people to go home and be like, give it to their friend and be like, here you go, happy I love you day, and their friend be like, $5, that's it. We want it to look expensive. And so I don't know, again, these are just things that we do with our business, that take and leave what you will, that if something you think will work for you, do it. Or if you're like, I like that idea, but this might work better for me, do it. Like, that's the biggest thing, is just do it, you guys. You've got this. And don't be afraid to make a plan and execute the plan and be like, that didn't work like how I expected it to. Maybe try it again at a different venue, and if it keeps not working, try something different. Like, roll with the punches, because it's an ever-changing market out there. And like, I'm just blast from the past stories. We did an event in like Baltimore, Maryland, and it was like, at the time we lived in southern Tennessee, two completely different economies. Like in southern Tennessee, it like for somebody to spend $20 on something was like, that was a lot. Like but then up in Baltimore, people were dropping 20s like they were 5s, and we were like, this is really nice. Like, I mean, because it was around that time that we were still sleeping in our van at some events, so it was really nice to go to a venue, and person did not even bat an eye at spending like $80 on one of our necklaces, and we were just like, oh. But then we found out up there the same apartment that we were paying like $300 a month for would have been like $1,200 up there. So we were like, again, completely different economies. So don't be afraid to travel for your work, because I like living in kind of lower budget areas, but then traveling to the more expensive areas, and not to be like and fleece the rich folks, but no. But you know, maybe go to where maybe not a college town, because college kids don't typically have a ton of money because ramen noodles and textbooks, but you know, just feel out your market, get an idea for what works for you, and then go for it. If y'all have any questions or comments or ideas, please leave them down below. I really hope that this video was helpful to you, because I really should have planned it out better. But I'd rather be crafting. So but yeah, just leave your questions and stuff down below. If y'all enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, as well as participate in my monthly craft crates and giveaways and all of the different things that we do, digital download content, all the different things that we do here at Back to Earth Creations, please check me out on Patreon. Again, links will be down below, as well as Facebook and Instagram. You can tag me and stuff, that way I can see what you make. Because I love seeing what y'all make. Like, y'all are so creative. You inspire me constantly and challenge me to keep trying to like come up with something new. So thank you guys for that. But yeah, happy crafting. Good luck with everything you do, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.